You know, I did a little. I mean,
Look at that. I actually have the chest thing, so I'll throw that chest thing on there.
for black males, you know what I'm saying? I want to be a good example so that people, when they
Tell
see
y'all I'm not. Like, that's what y'all want to believe it, but then I definitely wasn't that.
And I sincerely appreciate you and Carlo inviting me to come on to Cartalk TV.
Hey, man, I'll let you later, brother.
All right,
Thanks a lot.
thanks again.
Peace.
Thanks again for everything.
Yeah, it's your main man, E-Vapors, back with another live Cartalk TV. And y'all know, man, Cartalk TV is none other than my co-host, Carlo, and myself, your main man, E-Vapors. So today we got a really, really cool guest, man. And we've been advertising for it, man. Y'all been seeing it, everybody that's been following along. We have the red and black collection today. You're going to meet the founder, Mr. Red and Black Collection himself. So I'm excited, man. I see y'all coming up in here in the chat, man. What's going on, Shane? What is that, Lachelle? I see Carlo is up in here, man. So we're going to have some fun today, man. And I love cars. I know you guys love cars if y'all tuned in to Cartalk TV. But more than anything, man, I always think it's interesting to find out, you know, what is that person's journey. Yeah, you see the car at the car show. Yeah, we see that, right? What's going on, Lachelle? We see the car. But how did you get the car? What was your journey, man? What made you go in that direction? And those are the things that I love finding out, man, on every Cartalk TV interview we've done. We've gone beyond the surface of, yo, that's a dope car. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the easiest thing we can do is just look at the surface and say, man, that's a dope car, whether you're at the gas station or a car show. And I was talking earlier, I was talking to Carlo earlier, on the E-Vapors page live, man, and we was just talking like, man, you get to go to the car shows, man, and you see the cars. But how often do you get to have, you know, a 25, 30-minute or an hour conversation with the owner of the car or of those cars? Man, you get that on Cartalk TV, man. I'm just saying, y'all get that on Cartalk TV. Y'all getting those behind the scenes, you know, 30-minute, 1 hour conversations, man. And when I tell you, I've learned a whole lot about the car game, and I know a lot of folk that have chimed in with me have told me that they've learned a lot about the car game as well. So I'm just looking forward to, you know, learning as the weeks go by. And some of y'all know, man, that I'm actually purchasing a 84 Monte Carlo, man. So y'all get ready and stand by for that too. So let's see about we can get my man Red and Black up in here. I'll just tell everybody, man, you know, your name and where you at, man, and we'll get started with that.
Yeah, most definitely. Hey, what's up, everybody? Hey, my name is Carlos, man. I'm located in Houston, Texas, and I was invited to join the show recently. E and I caught up and kind of talked about my collection and you know, my passion for the car culture and customization and whatnot. And so he thought it'd be a good idea for me to join this show. But I'm originally from Dallas, been in Houston for about 15 years, and you know, just I love cars, man. That's my thing. I've always been kind of known for, you know, having a nice car here or there.
Hey, and that's dope, man. So clearly with your YouTube channel and clearly with your Instagram handle, Red and Black Collection, tell us how you got involved with that. Where did that color scheme come about from?
Yeah, man. That's so. I've always been a big fan of the Bulls, man. I was a Michael Jordan fan for a number of years, and so, you know, red and black has just kind of always been like kind of synonymous with the Bulls and Michael Jordan. But also, man, just kind of give you a little bit of insight. You know, I had a favorite uncle who had a 71 Olds 442 Cutlass when I was growing up, and it was red with black stripes. And so he passed away, man, and he ended up having to sell that car to pay for like medical expenses and whatnot, and then he ended up passing away shortly after. And I always said that, you know, whenever I had an opportunity, I was gonna go find me a Cutlass and paint it the same color as his. And so my Cutlass is kind of like a tribute to my uncle. His name is Lou, so that's the nickname for the car. It's called Uncle Lou. And And so that was the first car that I painted. I painted the red and black, and then from there it just kind of took off. I started thinking about, well, if I paint this car red and black, I wonder what it would look like if I paint the Impala and some of the other cars. And so that's kind of how it came to be. And then red is also my favorite color. Anybody to tell you that knows me personally, like everything like in my closet, shoes, all that stuff is like everything is red. So
question for you, man. So we see you a car collector. We see you got the red and black collection setting off, man, from the Caprice to the Oldsmobile, man, to the Monte Carlo, man. Are you just on the collection end, or are you actually under the hood and part of the design and how you bring about your car?
Man, okay. That's a great question. So I'm real big on being a part of the whole process. I think I told you before, my background, in college, my degree was in architecture. So I kind of have a background that involves like design and custom. And so I get involved with my bills. I'll be honest, I don't turn all my wrenches, but if there's something that I can do myself, I definitely will do it myself. But as far as like, painting body, I don't have that skill set. So I turn it over to somebody who knows that work. But general work under the hood, sometimes like audio, wiring, stuff like that, and then of course, wheel and tire stuff, suspension, brakes, if I can do it myself and save me a buck or two, I'll do it myself.
And you just spoke on wheel and tires, man. And now that me personally been really looking into the whole G-body world, and I'm about to enter the G-body world in about 2 months, thanks to the guys at ARC Motorsports up in Clinton, Maryland. I've been seeing some of the back wheels, man, with some really, really big lips on some of the rims, man. Are you the type of guy that will go with a big lip and have to actually be a part of shortening your back end, or do you pretty much put a wheel on that fits already?
So that's a good question, man. So actually on the wheel setup that I'm doing on my Monte Carlo, I'm actually going to do a 12-inch wheel in the rear. So because of the width of the wheel and the offset, I'll have to basically, it's what they call back half. I'll have to back half the car, so it involves quite a bit of adjustments and modification, cutting the frame, and then of course also going in with like custom suspension. So I guess that answers your question. So we'll have to notch the frame. We'll have to do a mini tub, and we're gonna have a four-link suspension setup with coilovers and all the goodies to make it nice and stiff.
Yeah, and I'm glad you went into detail on that, man, because I've been seeing some of the craziest, deepest offsets that I had ever seen in my life, and I said there's no way that these wheels are just getting slapped on at your local rim shop that sell rims, like the rent rims. At least here in North Carolina, we got a place where they got it's called rent and roll, right? You can rent rims and you can roll out the same day. But I said,
Right.
There's no way that guys are just slapping on these 9-10-inch lips and just driving off, factory. See you later.
Nah. It definitely requires some customization and modification of your suspension and your frame. And now when you talk about the lips, there's a couple different ways that you can achieve that lip without doing too much of a modification to your frame.
Mm-hmm.
What a lot of guys do is they do what they call a reverse hoop, where like if on most wheels your inner lip and your outer lip are typically about 50-50. So you got about 50% of your inner lip on the inside, about 50% of your outer lip on the outside, right? Well, with a reverse hoop, it moves the inner lip in, so you have a really small inner lip. Your inner lip might be only maybe like 1.5 to 2 inches, or maybe 3 inches, and then what that does is that gives you a wider outer lip. So you could do like an 11-inch wheel with like a 3-inch inner lip, which will give you like a 8-inch outer lip.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And so because the overall width is 11 inches, but like I say, because of the placement of your inner and outer barrels, you end up with a much wider outer lip. So that's one way people kind of get away with doing a wider lip without having to do as much work on the suspension and the frame.
Yeah.
So it just really depends on, you know, what your end goal is, really.
Yeah, man, I like how you broke that down. And me personally, I had never heard that process broken down that way. I always end up seeing the final product, whether it's in person, whether it's on Instagram or YouTube. I'm just looking at, like, let's just say a G body. I'm like, man, that lip on that, I don't know how in the world they tuck that thing in. Did they pull out the fender? You know, did they do some body work? Because I think it's best to stay away from pulling out the fenders. You know, I just like that clean, natural lines look. Are you more of a clean, natural lines, or would you at some point pull out fenders and make it wide body?
Well, to be honest with you, man, I had originally considered doing a wide body setup on my car, and I came to the conclusion that I don't think there's anybody out there right now that I can afford. I mean, maybe put that disclaimer on there. I don't think there's anybody out there right now that I can afford that could do a wide body setup on that car for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now there's a guy a lot of people may be familiar with. They call him the wide body king. He's out of California, and I forget what his Instagram handle is, but he calls himself the wide body king. And he's known for doing like custom wide body kits on like everything from Bentleys to, you know, to Corvettes to everything, man. And the impressive thing about him is his wide body jobs are all metal. Like a lot of shops will do like fiberglass and they'll do like other kind of materials, but his wide body kits are typically all metal. So but I'll be honest, man, I'm not gonna cap it all, man. I can't afford him. If I could afford him, I would definitely say, hey man, take my Monte Carlo, make it a wide body Monte Carlo, and I'm sure he probably could do it, but it'll probably cost me 20, 30 grand just for him to do it, because he's expensive, I'll be honest with you.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
crazy, man. But I mean, again, like you said, you know, there's gonna be people that say, hey, I don't mind putting this money into this project. And that's cool, man. Let me just jump in the chat real quick, man. I want to give a shout out to some people that just joined.
Sure.
Lister 4162, the real Jewels, Selena's 392, Bubble Chev in here 317, Rabbit, MTZ 713, and of course Shane is in here. And look, we just had Robert Smith and my guy Demonology 638 is in here. Mr. Get down the track fast as you can in his Dodge Demon is in here, man. And I was telling him about you, and I was telling you about him because you're in Houston and he's, you know, right there in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, man. And I would love to see the Red and Black collection and Demonology on the same screen, man. That would really be dope. Oh, I see the collection. Is that the collection?
Yeah, I'm over here. I'm over here at the Bat Cave, man. That's what I call my honeycomb hideout, my Bat Cave. So that's the ZL1 Monte Carlo. You can see it there, and over here you got the ZL1 Impala, and then over here, and then you got the let's see, let me get a better angle. That's the Cutlass, the 442. Yeah. And my C10 is at home right now, but I'm over here at the shop, and then that's my little toy. That's my off-road, my Razor 1000. My little 4-wheel drive side by side. Yeah.
Now look, I'm very partial to the Monte Carlo, mainly because, you know, again, I mentioned it earlier, I'm working with ARC Motorsports for my '84 Monte Carlo. Tell us more about the ZL1. What year is it, and what are some of the things you've done to it, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah. So the ZL1 Monte Carlo is it's an '87 Monte Carlo Super Sport. I've owned it about 16 years, and so this car originally started out. I'll walk over here a little closer to it. Yeah. This car originally started out as a hardtop car, and I had it as a hardtop for years and years and years. But I've always wanted not a convertible, but a T-top car. But this car has so much sentimental value to me. I didn't want to get rid of it, right? And I didn't want to go buy a T-top car and then have both a T-top and a hard top. So I said, you know what? I've seen it done before, so why not try it? So I decided to go ahead and convert this one to a T-top. So the shop I took it to, they did a full complete T-top conversion on it. We found a donor car that had a good top on it. We chopped the top off of it, and then of course chopped the top off this one, and then we made it the two tops. And so that was one of the first things I did was I did the T-top conversion on the car. The entire roof of this car has been completely redone with all new metal. So the T-top frame, the roof, everything that you see, the header panel, all that's all new metal. So it's like a brand new T-top, right? And then over here, if you look at my hood, so that's a custom piece. That's a custom one-off piece. That is a ZL1 inspired custom hood. And what this is an all metal original Monte Carlo hood, okay? That has been mated with a 1-inch cowl hood scoop, and then a ZL1 inserts. So this is actually 3 pieces. This is 3 pieces that were melded together basically to create this one hood. So that's and that hood on this car is directly connected to the hood on the Impala. So if you look at the Impala, that's the 96 Impala. If you look at the Impala, same exact hood that's on the 96 Impala is the same exact hood that's on the 87 SS Monte Carlo. They share the exact same paint color. It's the same paint code, the same black stripe that goes from the hood to the trunk. And they also share something that I'm kind of proud of that I don't think I've seen much out there or at all. They also share this custom spoiler right here. So if you see this spoiler, so this spoiler has, if you look closely, the spoiler has a notch in the middle.
Yeah.
It's notched out in the middle. And if you go a little bit around the back, the lighting's not that great here. But if you look at the back of the spoiler, it has, let's see, let me get it in the camera there. There it is. If you look at the back of the spoiler, it has a brake light. It has a brake light right there in the back of the spoiler. So that was something, that was a design that I came up with personally. I presented it to my painter at the body shop. I told him what I wanted to do. First he laughed at me. He was like, "Are you serious?" And then he was like, "You know what? Let me see what I can do." So he took my design and my idea and he brought it to life, man. I mean, he surprised me one day. He was like, "Hey, man, I got something for you to see." And he pulled it out and I was blown away. I mean, because he did such a great job, man. Like, I see people, I have had people like literally ask me like, "How can I buy that spoiler?" So I got some things that I'm working on to reproduce this spoiler that we're working on. Hopefully we'll have it ready for probably the beginning, or maybe the first half of next year, where we're gonna reproduce these spoilers for Monte Carlos, Regals, and Cutlasses. So people who are interested in getting a spoiler like this with the integrated brake light, they can do that. So so all right, I see. Okay, yeah. So and we'll have 2 different ones. We'll have one with the brake light, one without the brake light. For some people that don't want the brake light, we'll do both. So that's one mod that I'm particularly proud of. The other mod that we did on this car is, if you can see here, these are my mirrors, right?
Yeah.
So these mirrors came off of a particular car.
A particular car?
A particular car. I won't name the car. Right? I won't name the car right now. But for those of you on this live, if you see it, if you recognize it, comment in the comments if you think you know what it is. I'll give you a couple of angles of it. I'll give you a couple of angles.
I've never seen fold-in mirrors on the Monte Carlo.
So it's not wired up right now, but eventually when we do wire it up, those mirrors will be able to fold in with the push of a button. With the push, so they'll be able to fold in. So like basically what will happen is when I arm the alarm, they'll fold in, and then when I disarm the alarm, they'll fold out. And then of course they also have a signal light. They have a signal light in there as well. We'll wire that up and make sure it's functional and everything too. So like I said, those mirrors, and I tell you, it took me I'm telling you, man, I saw those mirrors one time and it drove me crazy because I didn't know where they came from. because I'm perfectly fine with sharing where I got them from. The first time I saw them was on a $500,000 SEMA C10 build. So there's a $500,000 60, I think it's a 69 C10 build that they took to SEMA, and I saw the mirrors on that truck, and I searched for those mirrors for like a year. I'm talking like every time I saw a car pull up at the light, I'm looking at the mirrors to see if the mirrors look like the one off that truck, and then finally one day it just came to me, and I pulled up on the car with the mirrors, and I was like, that's the mirror. And so from that point forward, you know, I decided to go ahead and do it. So
Yeah.
So anyways, so you got the mirrors, you got the custom mirrors, you got the custom hood, right? And then you got the custom trunk back here, of course, the spoiler.
Yeah.
And then of course the whole T-top conversion that was done. And then on the interior, I haven't really done anything on the interior yet, but my goal on the interior, I mean, and I can show it to you real quick, just a quick rough look at it. So my interior, as you can see, it's got the black with the red stitching. So I got this done probably about, I don't know, 5-6 years ago maybe, and it's like that perforated leather. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it actually is fine. The interior is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. There's no rips, no tears, no wrinkles. But because I'm trying to make this car a companion to the Impala, I want the interiors to match. And so the interior and the Impala, you'll have to forgive me because the lighting may not be that great, but the interior on the Impala is, let's see, can you see that? Can you see that diamond stitch, the red diamond stitch?
Oh yeah, I like that diamond stitching in the
Okay.
seat.
Yeah, so the interior on the Impala has the red diamond stitch. We got a suede headliner, and then we got a diamond stitch in the sunroof, sun visor. So I mean, so the ideal of this car, the Monte Carlo, is to have the same interior in the Monte Carlo as I do in the Impala. So that's that. And in this car here, the reason why we call it the Z01 Monte Carlo, other than the fact that it has the Z01 hood, is this car will have, not now, but it will have a LSA supercharged LS swap. So
Hold up.
you can
Tell everybody, what does that mean? What does that mean?
Okay, so the LSA, the supercharged LSA engine was, I believe it was originally put in the 2012 Camaro ZL1, okay? And that engine was capable of, I think out of the box, that engine was capable of like 560 horsepower out of the box. That's no tuning, no tweaking, just right out of the box, 560 horsepower. But you could tweak that engine and put a tune on it to probably get it, I would say, you can probably get it to at least 700 with a tune and a few little, a few added bolt-on mods. So essentially what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that engine from the ZL1 Monte Carlo, and I'm gonna stuff it in this engine bay. Okay. Now most people say like that, like that's been done before. And my thing is I'm not trying to be the first to do it. I mean, because there's been multiple, probably dozens and dozens of G bodies and Monte Carlos that have done the ZL1 supercharged LSA in their car. But for me, it's more or less the overall package. It's the overall design. I'm not just dropping the engine. I'm going with the engine, and the entire overall theme of the car will all be ZL1 Monte Carlo, right? So, I think that's probably a little bit of a difference, something that kind of situates or separates my car from other cars that already have done a LSA supercharged swap in their car. So, but you can see my engine bay, it's prepped and ready to go. All I need is basically to drop the engine in there. So I've got all the components. I've got the engine. I've got the supercharger. And what we're going to be doing is we're doing LSA ported and polished heads. We'll have a valve job done on them. We're also going to do like hardened push rods. We've got a Texas speed LSA special grind that's made specifically for boost on the camshaft, which will also come with upgraded springs for that setup as well. And we're probably gonna do a 480 transmission, probably like a stage 3 or stage 4 480 transmission with the Circle D billet aluminum torque converter, because you gotta have that bulletproof torque converter, or else you'll tear it up, right?
Yep.
We'll probably do more than likely we'll probably do a carbon fiber drive shaft just to get a little bit more weight reduction. And as far as the gears, we'll probably do like a 410 or a 411 gear. I know some people like to go with like the 373s. That's like a real popular gear ratio, 373s, but my car's only going to have 22s on it. And so based on the gearing and the 4L80, because when you look at the 4L80 and you look at, say, the 4L60, those are two different transmissions, and the gearing, the internal gearing of each transmission is different. And so you have to compensate for the gearing in the 4L80, you go with a slightly different gear ratio in the rear end. Now if I was going with a 4L60, I probably would go with like a 373, but because I'm going with a 4L80, we think it's best for me to go with like a 410 or 411. So yeah, so that's the plan there. And we're looking probably for, I don't know, man. Like I said, the engine's capable of making like 550, 560 out of the box, but we're looking for probably about, I don't know, maybe 650, 675, maybe 700 to the rear wheels if we can get it. So that's kind of the goal.
Gotcha, man. You dropped a whole lot of knowledge, man. My question is, as I'm entering into the whole G-body world, man, I wish I had my notepad. I'm gonna have to go back and watch this video and take these notes down, man. Well, what's the biggest difference between the LS3 and like the LSA that you're talking about? Because I hear that more common, the LS1, 2, 3. I don't really hear people say LSA a lot. So I'm sure there's a price difference. What's the main difference?
Yeah, I wouldn't even necessarily say there's a price difference. I mean, now when you say LSA, I mean you can go and buy like an LSA long block without the actual supercharger on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
For about the same as you can an LS3. Like so like if you look at an LS3 block and an LSA block, price wise, they're probably going to be about the same. Where the difference comes in at a lot of times on the price is if you're talking about if you're buying a complete pullout from a Z01 Camaro with a supercharged LSA with the blower or the supercharger, that is, and the engine, the entire complete engine assembly, that's where it's a lot more expensive. So like if you put it like this, your typical base model SS Camaro will have an LS3 in it. Okay. The ZL1 Camaro, which of course is like, an upgraded upgraded version of the Camaro SS, that's going to have your LSA supercharge in it. Now, I'm not like an LS guru, so I'm not going to pretend to know everything there is to know about LSs, but I do know that some of the internal parts within the LSA are fundamentally different than a basic LS3, and I think it has to do with like the bore and maybe the crank, mm-hmm. and possibly the pistons and the rods. So but again, like I say, if you want to know for sure what the technical difference is between the LS3 and LSA, I would definitely recommend doing your research, maybe reaching out to somebody who actually is an expert on like the internal components of each engine.
Yeah, we had a question from Demonology in the chat. I think he's talking about the overall car weight. So what's the weight?
Okay. So the overall car. So most G bodies weigh about the same. This car here will probably go in at about 3,200 to 3,300 pounds. But with a few things that we're going to do, we'll probably lighten it up a little bit. But I'm thinking if we were to take it across the scale with engine and everything in it, and plus the driver, you're probably looking at least, I don't know, 3,400 to 3,500 pounds at least, even with a little bit of weight reduction. So it's definitely still lighter than a Challenger, a Dodge Challenger.
Hey,
Hey,
so look, with that being said, man, you know we live in a Mopar world. I don't care who you
man,
are. We live in a
man.
Mopar world, right?
Yes,
We do.
yes,
You can't
yes.
deny the fan base that they have, the number of guys that are moving these cars down the track at crazy speeds, man. Is that when you're building, are you building? I know you're building your collection with your color and everything, but do
Right.
you have those guys in the back of your mind when you're building your car? Are they in the back of your mind somewhere?
So okay, look. So let me show you something that's real funny. Most guys get a kick out of this, and it usually just gives kind of like really weird stares, right? But if you look at the fender on my '96 Impala, right? That's the car right there. That's the '96 Impala. If you look at the fender, something I did to my fender, I did it mainly to piss off the Dodge guys. But if you look at my fender, let me show you real quick. Let's see. Can you see my fender? What does it say?
Oh no.
You see
Oh,
that?
let me see that again. No, you didn't.
So look, so okay, so that's my fender. Okay, so let me tell you the story behind that. Okay, so when I put this car together, somebody took a picture of this car at like Cars and Coffee or something one day, and the guy, when he took the picture, I had my my halo lights on my Impala, and
Yeah.
he said man, this car looks evil. He said, man, this car looks evil when you look at it at the lights. And I was like, you know what, that kind of makes sense. And so when he said that, I'm thinking, okay, it's a red car, it looks evil. Why not call it the Demon, right? So I said, you know what, I'm gonna find a Demon logo and I'm gonna slap it on the side of my car. But then it went from there to one of my other buddies was saying, like, dude, you should change the Demon and add the word killer under it for Demon Killer. And so I was like, you know what? When I decide to do what I want to do with this car eventually, which right now the car has pretty much a stock LT1 in it, so I haven't done anything major performance wise in this car. But when I decide to do what I really want to do to it, I'm coming to find me a couple of demons out there, and we gonna do a little dance on the
Well,
track.
Mr. Red and Black Collection, let me tell you, you ain't got that far to go to find one.
Hey, so I'm gonna bring that demon killer to life. I'm gonna add the word killer under that demon, and we're gonna see. I'm gonna come find me some Mopar guys in the streets. We're gonna have some fun.
Hey, look, let me tell you like this. I know a track that's about 3.5 hours away from where you live. And I just happen to know one particular demon owner. You know, he's a very nice guy, very nice guy, very nice guy. And I don't think he would have a problem, you know, breaking bread with you, you know, before and after, at the Texas Motorplex.
You
Maybe.
know what? I'm, you know, I'm right. I'm not ready right now,
Yeah,
but give me maybe about it. Let me finish the Monte Carlo first.
yeah.
Let me finish the Monte Carlo. Then I'm gonna go back to the Impala, and we got a few tricks up my sleeve. My boy Rick over at Texas Powerhouse. Shout out to my boy Rick and the gang over at Texas Powerhouse. They're one of the well-known LS swap shops here in Houston. They do a lot of boosted applications, and that's who's gonna do the swap on my Monte Carlo. But once we finish the Monte Carlo, we're gonna start focusing on the Impala too. So we got a couple things we're gonna do to it to see if we can get it down the track and turn some heads. But yeah, when I'm ready, I'll definitely be reaching out to Demonology and I may try to find Corey too, man. You know, Corey Pritchett. You know, he got his red eye Hellcat that he likes to race down here from time to time on the streets. I'm gonna come look for him too.
Yeah, now there was this game I used to play back in the day, man. I want to say it was on the first Nintendo. I think it was called Kung Fu. And
Right.
you had to go up levels, right? You fight this one dude at the end of the hallway so you can go up the stairs. And then you go up the stairs, get to the end of the hallway, you fight a bunch of chumps in between. And then you get to a bad dude at the end of the hallway, you beat him. Then you go up the stairs to the next level. You fight a bunch of regular chumps and you beat them. And then you get to the top level. And what I'm saying is, go ahead and beat Corey and then beat some of the guys that we don't know about. And
Okay.
I think that's gonna qualify you to get to the Texas Motorplex and see Demonology. You know what I mean? Demonology is that dude at the top of the video game on Kung Fu that's waiting.
Okay. No, I respect that. I mean, I definitely I know Demonology is definitely he's a big dog. I know that for sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I saw the video of him and Dunkmaster going at it. You know, man, it's hard to beat that dude, Dunkmaster, man. He got a hell of a machine, man.
Yeah.
But when
Uh-oh.
when you can move something that big and heavy down the track, can you see me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, yeah. When you can move something that big and heavy down the track the way he moves that dunk gun down the track, man, that's scary, man. That's scary. But what I always think about is what if he took that same setup and threw it like in a real race car, like I don't know, something like maybe like a little Fox body or something. That would be ridiculous. That would be bananas.
Yeah, I would love to see that, man, because clearly, I mean, he knows what he's doing. He's able to move those big cars, those donks down the track in those amazing times. I think it's a feat that you don't see every day. But at the same time, I mean, for him to really compete with Demonology and some of these other cars, not just Demonology, man, you know, he gonna have to put on some racing slicks and them big wheels is hard. That's something I'm gonna start calling him Tina Turner, big wheels turning.
Right,
exactly. Master, keep on burning, rolling.
Yeah, man. But you know, I watched Dunkmaster's. He did an interview recently with the cats from Hoonigan.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Hoonigan crew. But he did an interview with them. He kind of let a couple secrets go. He was real reserved with some of his stuff, but he let a few secrets go as to what they do to make those cars move the way they move. And so I was impressed, man. He was talking about they built something on that car out of some kind of metal that NASA uses on spaceships. It was something that I forgot what it was. It was a part that they had that kept breaking. It kept breaking every time they take the car down the track. So they were trying to find out what metal they could use that wouldn't break. So he mentioned that he reached out to somebody at NASA, an engineer or something, and they ended up sending him that metal, whatever it is they use on their spaceships. He got that same metal and put it in their cars. So he got some tricks up his sleeve, man.
Man, yeah. Donk Master's tough, man. He's definitely holding it down, representing the donk community, man. And Demonology, man, you know, he's definitely the king of Mopar, man. You know, time after time, man, he's beating guys at the track, man, and he's beating them, you know, time after time. So you got the king of Mopar, you got the king of donks. You know, I can see you, man, in your lane, man. You might be the Chevy gang king, man. I mean, because the collection already stands out. So if you got a collection that's standing out, and then you mess around and do some numbers on the track, it's gonna be over.
But let me just say this though, E. So I've never been the type of guy that's like trying to be the fastest car. You know what I mean? Like I'm you know, anybody tell you like, you know, Carlos, he's not a racer. You know what I mean? But it's hard not to get into it when you see so many people doing it now, and you see the popularity and just the fanfare that it's bringing now. You know what I'm saying? So like people like Demonology and people like Dunkmaster and others, you know, they've kind of like inspired me to say, you know, kind of take a look at it and say, maybe I should try this big wheel racing thing out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's definitely something that I like it, because it's something that we kind of created ourselves. It kind of gives us like our own lane, and you know, it's something that the average person can get into. It's not like so far out of reach that the average person can't do it. You know what I mean? That's what I like about it.
Yeah, and what's funny, man, you know, we call Demonology, man, you know, he the king of Mopar, man, and you know, we got Donk Master, you know, he the king of you know, other donks and everything, man. Somebody in the chat said, man, you can be the B-body king.
Man, speaking of B-body kings, oh my God. So I was on a post a couple of days ago on one of the B-body groups on Facebook, and man, some dudes they set me straight, man, because what I said, the post was like everybody posts up the fastest B bodies in the country, right? And I made a comment. I said, man, to be honest with you, man, I've seen a lot of people dump a bunch of money into B bodies, trying to get them to go fast, only to be disappointed with the performance that they get out of the cars. And I said, really and truly, man, if you want a fast car, go buy you a car that's meant to be fast, like a Corvette or something like that, right? So, man, I don't know why I said that, right? Because as soon as I said that, I had like probably 10 people jump in the comments with V bodies that are like 8 and 9 second cars. Yeah, exactly. So some of these cars are like twin turbo, some of them single turbo, some of them supercharged. And so I was blown away. I said, man, I said, well, clearly I haven't been in the loop, or I haven't been looking at the right B bodies, because I had no idea we had 8 and 9 second B bodies out there in the world. So I don't know about being the B body king. I think somebody might already have that, man, because 8 seconds in a car that weighs 4,400 pounds, that's fast.
But look, I'm gonna tell you what I believe Demonology might would say. Somebody said you can have an 8-second car. What kind of light you gonna cut?
True. It's all up. Yep.
I can hear Demonology right now say, okay, you might have a faster car. But when what kind of light are you gonna cut? What's your reaction time? Now I've seen Demonology, he know how to cut a light.
Yeah, true.
If he take off first 1 second, 1 second and a half before you do, it's over.
Yeah. That's true. It's all about, like you say, reaction time, and you know who the driver is behind the wheel. But yeah. Anyways, yeah. So I mean, it's definitely all about the person behind the wheel. Now, of course, you know the one thing I've learned in watching the events that I see that that Dogmaster takes part in, I see that sometimes the racers, they will ask if they want to do like pro tree or not. You know what I mean? Like, in some drivers, they prefer the pro tree because that's the advantage they have over a less experienced driver. If their reaction time is better and they know how to stage and set up. But me personally, I would probably be that person asking to not do a pro tree, because I know that that's not my lane. You know what I mean? I'm not that well, I'm not that well versed on doing that type of race. But I guess it's a case by case scenario.
Man, look, I'm glad you said that, man, because literally, I've been over the last couple of days, man. I've been on some Demonology lives, man, and those were some of the things that I've heard him talk about. And I'm learning, the whole race game, man. All I've ever done was 10 roll races in Memphis at the last YouTuber's call out, man. So I want to learn how to do a dig race. You know what I'm saying? How do you properly burn out? How do you properly, watch the tree? How do you properly, the whole nine, man. And again, it's going to depend on the car. It's going to depend on the track, the setup, your tires. Are you hooking?
Right. Yep.
There's so many different variables, man, that I've been watching and learning. And I'm just looking forward to, getting involved with it, man. My favorite part, honestly, man, is I like to talk. So that's my favorite part. I mean, because I feel like I like that Don King before the fight, bop, 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 bop. I love that kind of, because you should be smiling. I'm smiling. We talking junk. We're not mad. We're selling tickets. That's all we're doing. We're selling tickets, man. So I know I can talk with the best of them, man. And talking to you last night, man, I believe you can talk with the best of them too. But I believe you're a man of action too, brother.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I'm definitely not gonna just talk about it, man. I'm gonna be about it, man. And most of my friends will tell you everything that I said I'm gonna do. If I say I'm gonna do something, it's gonna manifest itself. It may not necessarily happen, overnight. It may not happen the next week or the week after or the year after, but it's gonna happen. Everything I said, hey, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. I've been blessed to be able to do it, and that's that I think that's one thing about me is like I'm so passionate about this thing, man. It's like I won't allow anything to stop me from doing what I say I'm gonna do. Unless of course the man above decides to to do me otherwise. You know what I mean? But definitely.
Yeah, man, and I'm showing a picture right now, man, where everybody talking about kings and stuff, man. Kings of Mopar. You look, you the new B body king, and we got Donk Master. He's the king of the donks. So like, you know, my lane, you know, I'm the hybrid king, baby. They call me King Vapors. You know what I'm saying? The hybrid king.
Right.
You know, that's my lane, man. But your collection, I mean, to be honest, man, what we're looking at right now, really, really dope collection, man. I love it. I love the color scheme. I love how you created what nickname did I give it? The Camaro Monte?
Camaro Monte.
Yeah, I like to call that joint the Camaro Monte, man. You're doing a super job, man. Hey, tell us about the truck, man. Tell us about the truck.
Okay, so my truck, which you don't see here, it's a 85. It's actually a GMC, which let me just share a little bit about that really quick. So most C10s that you see on the road are typically Chevys. Okay, and I don't know if it was because of maybe like production, like the amount that they produced, or not, or what, but for some reason you don't come across a lot of GMC short C10s, right? And so I always like to point out that first of all, my truck is a GMC. So essentially it's a Sierra, not a Silverado, basically, if you want to put it like that. But it's referred to as a C1500 as opposed to a C10 on the Chevy side. Anyways, so the C10, man, I've had that car. I mean, I had that truck for geez, I've had that C10 about 10 years actually, man, about 10 years. And when I bought the truck, it was pretty much already done. The guy that I bought the truck from, he had already put like a motor, and he already put a paint job on it. He did a few things under the hood. The interior was done. So I bought the truck pretty much already complete. All I did was put wheels on it, and I did a few little minor modifications under the hood. That was 10 years ago. Okay, so fast forward to today. Now that I've created this lane where I have this red and black collection, I've decided that I want all 4 of the cars to be the same color scheme. So coming soon, I just wrapped up. I just finished the rendering for the C10, but coming soon, I'm probably gonna drop it. I don't know. I hadn't decided yet, but maybe like in a couple weeks, maybe a month or two. I hadn't really decided yet, but I'm gonna be dropping a brand new rendering for the C10, and essentially what it's gonna be. It's gonna be, I'm gonna call it the ZL1 C10, and it's gonna be on the same color scheme, the same design as the Monte Carlo and as the Impala. So it'll be a 3-piece collection within the red and black collection. All 3 will be themed after the ZL1 Camaro. And so, but we're gonna do a little bit different on this one. We're gonna probably do a twin turbo setup on the C10. Now I talked to my guy about doing a twin turbo setup with the ZL1 supercharger setup, but he was like honestly, man, you wouldn't really get the power out of doing a supercharged setup with a turbo setup. So I kind of backed it down a bit. And I said, okay, let's just do a twin turbo setup instead, rather than doing the supercharged and the twin turbo. So yeah. So anyways, so I'll be posting. If you can imagine the ZL1 Monte Carlo, just imagine a 85 C10 / C1500 in the same color scheme, similar wheel and tire package. Oh, and I forgot, on the ZL1 C10, we're gonna be doing a 24x15 in the rear. So it'll be 22s in the front, 22x9 in the front, 24x15 in the rear. We'll have probably about a 12-inch lip. Yeah, we'll have probably about a 12-inch lip, because I'm gonna do a reverse hoop with a 15-inch wheel in the rear. So we'll get about a 12-inch lip out of it.
Man, that's crazy. I was literally just about to ask you your setup, and you just told me how you were going to do it, and if you're going to have to go in there, and as you was mentioning earlier about notching and those different things that you mentioned earlier. Now, as far as the black and red and black, unless you don't want to reveal it, is the truck going to be predominantly black or predominantly red?
Oh no. The truck will be just like the Monte Carlo, just like the Impala. It'll be red with the black trim. Now I got a little. I'm doing a slightly different variation of the red trim, but it will still have the same overall look and feel of the Monte Carlo and the C10. So my vision for these three vehicles, the Monte Carlo, the Impala, and the C10, is that I will travel the country and do car shows in multiple cities over a year span, right? So I'm planning on, once I get all three cars done, I'm gonna take a trip to see my boys in Georgia. I'm gonna take a trip to Florida. I'm gonna take a trip to South Carolina. I'm going to Louisiana. I'm going up north to Chicago, and I'm coming out west to Vegas. And it's gonna be like a traveling car show with those three cars, the red and black collection. But this will be known as the ZL1 collection within the red and black collection.
Man, bro, you talking real good stuff, man. You said South Carolina, so I'm right here in North Carolina, man. I can get to SC in about a good hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, depending on how far south we're going in South Carolina, man. I'm looking forward to the ZL1 tour, the red and black ZL1 tour. Make sure you swing by the Texas Motor Speedway before you leave. I ain't saying no names. I just said,
hey, well, Texas is home. Texas is home, and I was born and raised in Dallas. So without a doubt, it's gonna be at least three calendar events every year that I'm gonna make in Dallas. So Texas, that already goes without being said. That's a given.
Yeah. Now sometimes Instagram allows us to keep the thing moving. Sometimes they'll put a little cap on it. So just in case they put a cap on it, tell everybody, man, how they can follow you on Instagram and on YouTube, man. How can they find you?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate it. So on Instagram, real simple. Just like you see in front of you, my Instagram page is Red and Black Collection. So at Red and Black Collection. I'm also on YouTube. Same handle, Red and Black Collection. You can just search it just like it sounds, Red and Black Collection. I'll come up. I also have a Facebook page as well. It's a blog page. Same thing, the Red and Black Collection, or just Red and Black Collection. You can find me there. And I'm also on TikTok as well, Red and Black Collection. So I'm on pretty much all platforms. You can find me. You can't miss me.
Yeah, Red and Black Collection, man. I can't wait, man. When I tell you, man, when you was talking earlier about the LSA, man, my mind was just my brain was turning, because again, I'm entering the G body world, and I'm thinking, like, I'm already looking at 2 G bodies right now, right? So I'll give you the quick version of my story. In 2 months, I should have my 84 Monte Carlo. In March, April time frame, I'm already set to build a Monte Carlo for the track.
Okay.
So I'm sitting here listening to you, thinking like, okay, what are some of those ideas that, as I talk to my guy, SS Life up in the DMV area, man, I'm just ready to watch this video again, write down all the different things that you were saying, about the LSA, and talk to my guy, about what I plan on doing. Now, in your area, would you say you're the type of guy that people go to and you're available to give, I don't know, I don't want to call it like a consultation, but give advice? Do you find yourself giving advice on builds?
Oh, absolutely. And actually, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's actually something that a business venture that I plan on embarking on later down the line. So so the name of the company is going to be called Global Motorsport Image Consultants. And so what Global Motorsport Image Consultants is all about basically is, if you've got a car that you want to customize, or you want to make some modifications to it, but you just don't know exactly what you want to do, what direction, where to start, I'll basically sit down with you. We'll go through a consultation. I'll learn as much as I can about you and your personality, your style, who you are as a person, and then I'll give you suggestions on what I think you should do. Think of like Bitchin' Rides with Dave Kendig, or think of like what's the other show, Overhauling with Chip Foose. How he does the sketch of the car. He kind of gives them what the car is going to look like, and then we go from there, and we start on the project. So that's think of it as like an image consultant, but not for your wardrobe, but an image consultant for your car, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does, man, and that is a dope idea, man. And I definitely can see you sitting down with somebody, or even virtually, sitting down with somebody, because I definitely would have you build a car for me. Like just based on our previous conversation, man, and looking at your collection, your body of work speaks for itself. So a lot of times people can talk it, but when people are walking it, it makes a huge difference, man. And as my life continues to go in the direction I believe it's going in, man, so I'm ready to send you that cash app deposit for that consultation, man, and we can get us a car built from Houston, Texas.
There you go, man. Hey, let's do it, man. I'm all about it, man. Let me know. And another thing too that kind of helps in this scenario is that I all my years of being in the business and making relationships and contacts, I have so many different relationships with people that do all types of things, right? And I think a lot of times for most people, that's where they get scared because they don't know who to trust. They don't
Yeah.
know what shops to go to, what shops do the best work. So that's where I bring my expertise to the table, and I can say, okay, leverage my 10, 15, 20 years of experience and expertise and know-how in this space to bring you the best card that you never could have imagined.
Man, well, go ahead and sign me up, man. I'm already signed up for the spoiler.
Okay.
I'm already signed up for the spoiler with the brake light on there. I'm already signed up for that, man. But we about to sign me up for a complete build, man. And look, we document it on your YouTube channel, and then I fly in along the way, man, to as different progress is made, man. I'm looking forward to that, man. I do wish you a lot of success with your business, man. And you mentioned earlier that you had a background in was it an architectural background?
Yeah, architecture. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how have you leveraged that background into what you're doing now?
Well, so from architecture, from a standpoint of like just design and project management, I think that's what I picked up most from that experience in my education. When you approach a building, when you're designing a building, it's not so much different from designing a car. You pull inspiration from other pieces of architecture that you like, right? So you get inspiration from other designs that you like, and then you kind of pull in your own personal preferences of what you like, and you start to design your project, right? And then you kind of make a checklist or a punch list of all the must-haves that you want to have in your build, and the stuff that's like is a nice to have, but that's not necessarily a must-have. And then you approach it from a standpoint of project management of anything, right? Of a house or what have you. And so I think that's where that's kind of helped me in this space in designing cars, because I approach it the same way.
Hey, man, that's good stuff, man. I'm reading a couple comments, man, and I don't know if this is for you. I don't know if there was a conversation. I said Cutlass going turbo, AutoCAD.
Yeah. Well, AutoCAD, that's a software that architects use for it's computer aided drawing. That's what the CAD stands for, computer aided drawing. Yeah, so that's definitely a tool that they use in that space. I'm not sure what the tools they use to do renderings for cars. I don't think it's the same as AutoCAD, but it's a similar format though, similar platform.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. And look, man, again, I like how you have the color scheme, man. And I'm always having different ideas about what I want to do. I've always envisioned myself having, like a fleet of cars be the same color. I know that's not brand new. People have done that before. I'm going to have this first Monte Carlo is going to be candy paint, right? Are you a candy paint kind of guy, or you just, strictly red and black, like that's you? Could you have the red and black collection and some other candy painted cars, or you just always going to be the red and black collection man? I think we got just a little interruption on the signal here. I think we just got a slight interruption. Let's see what's going on here. All right, we'll get him reconnected, man. We'll get him reconnected. Let's hit the little reconnect button here, and we'll get him back in here, man. But man, great interview, man. It's been a really good interview, man. This guy Red and Black collection, man. It's been crazy what we've learned so far tonight, man. Like I feel like I'm in a master's class right now, learning about, the G body, the B body. It's crazy, man. Let's see if he's back in here. If we can get him back in here connected, man. But we've had a really long interview already, man. If we need to close it out, man, we can close it out. Let me grab my brother Carlo Rail in here right quick. Oh, there you go. I think Red and Black is back in here, man. Let's see if we can get him back on. Let's see if we can get him back on here real quick, man. Yeah.
Sorry about that, man. My phone died, man. Damn, I can't. That's embarrassing, man. Sorry, guys. So you were asking me about candy paint. So, man, you know what? Just to be completely honest with you, man, from a background perspective, just keeping it all the way real with you, man. I grew up in the hood, right? And so, growing up in the hood, there's an affinity and an affection for candy painted cars. That's just kind of how we grew up. We grew up idolizing candy painted cars. So yes, in my earlier years of being like a car custom connoisseur, everything that I own had to have candy paint on it, right? And but in fact, I got a couple of cars in my past collection that were candy painted cars, and I think a lot of it, man, just over the years, my tastes and preferences changed. And I went from being like all about candy to focusing more on like other qualities in the car. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And really like all about like the fit and finish of a car, because I think at the time when I was doing the whole candy thing, we were so busy worried about what our candy paint looked like. We didn't touch anything under the hood. The trunk looked a mess. We might have had a fairly decent interior, but we weren't doing suspension upgrades, and we weren't doing all that stuff, man. So, so as I got older, I started kind of like caring less about the candy paint and more about the actual quality and overall fit and finish of the car. I start going into like, hey, what's my engine bay look like? Am I confident enough to pop my hood when I go to a car show? Or if somebody asks me like, hey, what's your trunk look like? Am I confident enough to pop my trunk? Can you look under my car and see these control arms, these tubular control arms that I got, this coilover setup that I got up under here, this sway bar kit, or these big disc brakes that I got under here? I'm caring more about that stuff than like the candy stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, I love a candy painted car. I'll forever love a candy painted car. But for me personally, I've kind of grown past that. That's just not where my space is now. You know what I mean? So give me a nice base coat, clear coat, with a nice buff job, and I'm good to go.
Yeah, I love it, man. And I meant to ask you earlier, man, when we was first connected, man. Like what was that first car, man? That first car, and not like as an adult or whatever, but like that first car that you had, man, when you came up.
Man, that's a good story. So my very first car, I was 15 years old. It was a 1981. No, it was an 82 Pontiac Firebird. It had a 302 in it. It had T-tops, and believe it or not, back then my favorite color was blue. So this is when I was in high school, right? So and mainly because my high school alma mater, our colors were blue and silver. So I was kind of partial to blue because of that. And I played sports and whatnot. But anyways, that car was an 82 Pontiac Firebird, and I got it when I was 15. Shout out to my stepdad. He's a real MVP. My parents just told me basically flat out. They say, hey, look, you got too much going on between sports and work and all your other extracurriculars. We're getting tired of taking you everywhere you need to go like a chauffeur. So we're gonna buy you a car. So that's what they did. They bought me that 82 Firebird, and I painted it. My mom gave me half the money to get it painted for Christmas. So I painted it like a royal blue with a metallic flake. I put some wire wheels. I think I had like some Roadsters or some McLeans on it. And we called it sitting fat back then. It was like 15 by 8s.
Yeah.
Sitting fat with the low pros, and I put that car together, man, and I wrecked it like 3 months later, totaled it out. Yeah, I wrecked that car and totaled it out, man, and then after that, I ended up getting an '81 Buick Regal with
Okay.
with the V6. It was a Buick Regal with the V6, man, an '81, and that car was a beautiful car, man. I rocked with that car for a while. I had some 13x7 Daytons on it, and with the 2-inch white wall, it kind of looked like a lowrider. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was kind of the flavor that we kind of rocked back then in the early to mid '90s in Dallas. Everybody was rocking lowriders, and so I rode that for a while, and then somebody cashed me out. They cashed me out on that car, and then I went and bought a Monte Carlo. I bought a 85 Monte Carlo, and from that point forward, man, I've been hooked on Monte Carlos ever since.
Yeah. So you officially Chevy gang all day then, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I've been, and that, that comes from also, like I told you when we were talking earlier, man. I had a favorite uncle. He's still alive, Uncle Tony. Uncle Tony was a Monte Carlo man, and ever since I can remember, man, he's always had Monte Carlos from like the '70s all the way through the late '80s and beyond. And so I've always been like, I got pictures of me when I was probably 1 or 2 years old, like sitting in the passenger seat or the driver's seat of a Monte Carlo. So that's always been my love, man.
Yeah, man. And we've been talking a lot, man, about under the hood, man. We talked about the interior with the diamonds and the diamond cuts and all that, man. Sorry, phone was ringing. You know how that goes.
Yeah, I know.
We talked about the interior. We talked about under the hood. We talked about some different modifications, man. Where do you stand on sound, bro? Are you one of the guys that's got the 2 gorillas in the trunk, or you just keep it
Man,
6x9 pumping?
That's a great question, man. Because remember when I told you I used to be a candy paint?
Yes, sir.
Fiend? Okay, so that was the other thing back in the day. We would be only concerned with how our car looked, so candy paint, okay, a decent interior, and bang in the trunk. Bang in the trunk. Those are the 3 things. Did none of us care about performance? It was all about paint, music, and interior, right? And so,
yeah.
I used to be in Dallas. The big thing that guys do in a lot of the cars is they do what's called a free air deck. It's basically where you take your back seat, and when you fold your back seat down, what they do is they put a wall of speakers right behind the back seat, and then what happens is you use a special designed speaker that what it does is it uses your trunk as the airspace. So it basically makes your trunk the box. And what we would do is we would do like either like 412s across the back, or we might do like 315s across the back. Or I've seen guys do like 610s, but we would make a baffle. It'd be like a baffle behind the back seat with 3/4 inch MDF. And then you mount all your speakers into that baffle, and then what it does is it gives you the opportunity to keep your trunk space, but then you also have a nice sounding system. So that's what we used to do. We call it a free air deck, but I know different places around the country they call it different things. And then we had this thing called a epicenter, and the epicenter was essentially like it was an add-on piece that you connected to your EQ, and it provided like almost kind of like a fake bass. It was like a bass booster, because what we learned was that when you did a free air deck, because it wasn't as airtight as an actual box, you lose some of that pressure, so you don't get as much bass as you want. So you add the epicenter. We call it a knob because it had like a little knob that you mounted on your dash that you turn up and down to adjust the bass. And so 412s with a knob or 412s with an epicenter, that was like the thing back then in Dallas, man. You had to have it every car. So that's what I used to roll. I used to ride with 412s, and then when I started getting into SUVs, I would do like 18s or 15s. And but if you ask me today, man, pretty much all my cars except for my C10 have like almost like factory sound system. I'm more big now on like sound quality. So I spend a little bit of money on like highs and mids and component speakers, but you won't probably find any subwoofers in any of my cars, because the only thing I have a subwoofer in is my C10. I got a box with 2 10s behind the seat. But the Monte Carlo, the Impala, and the Cutlass, all 3 of them just have like highs and mids and component setups.
Hey man, you dropped a whole lot of science, man. You gave us a history lesson, and then you brought us right back here, man. And my question along that same line, is, I'm seeing a lot of, in my opinion, dope, cutting edge, modern G bodies. Would you
Yeah.
say you're a OG preferred G body owner, or you don't mind going modern with the modern Camaro seats and current dash, or you just an OG, keep it OG? What would you say?
You know, I guess I couldn't say that, and I probably would be more of a hypocrite if I said that I liked to keep it OG, because I mean, clearly if you look at my Monte Carlo and the modifications that I've done to it, you know, that would pretty much say that I'm okay with, like, you know, kind of merging like the modern style with the old style. For me, I'm okay with like a healthy balance, a little bit of modern mixed in with a little bit of the old. I do prefer to keep the cars somewhat in line with like their original personality, but just adding a little bit of character to them, adding a little bit of spice. You know what I'm saying? Just to set them apart. Because you know the thing I tell people, you know, my Monte Carlo is not the first red Monte Carlo, right? Clearly, there's thousands of other red Monte Carlos out there. But when I look at my car and I walk around my car and I point out all the custom design cues, yes, my car is red, but there's not another red one like it. So so that's kind of how I view that, you know, and I'm all for people kind of pushing the envelope and trying different things, and you know, trying to, you know, kind of step outside their comfort level to try to do something that's innovative and never been done before.
Yeah, man. And on that same line of you know, being innovative and doing things that hadn't been done before, man. And as I sit here and I send messages to my guy up in Maryland, you know, on the Monte Carlo that we're building for the track, we're definitely trying to do some cutting edge things, man. I tell you, the things that I found myself liking as I look at different G bodies on the web, man. I really like the starlight ceilings, man. What how do you feel about those starlights?
I like it, man. I probably wouldn't do a Starlight in my Monte Carlo just because I got T tops, right? So in my opinion, I don't have enough ceiling for it to be worth it. You know what I mean? Because with the T top, you only have like basically half of a ceiling. So now would I put that in my Impala? Yeah, absolutely. That Impala has a huge ceiling, right? And so it would probably be a lot more worth my investment to do it in that car. So I'm all for that, absolutely.
Gotcha, man. And as your collection grows, and as outstanding as your collection is, man, and attention getting as your collection is, man, tell the people that are looking at buying these type of cars and building these type of cars, man, what are the best ways to protect these cars? Is it just a simple alarm? Is it an alarm with disabling factors? Is it an
Right.
alarm with GPS? What is the standard these days as far as protecting these cars when you go to the movies and it's sitting in the parking lot?
First of all, don't drive into the movies.
Oh man, I knew you were gonna say that.
Hey, look. Okay, so this is something that I had to learn a long time ago, man. That I didn't understand it at first, but I got it after a while. Okay, so like I told you before, I grew up in the hood, right? So growing up in the hood, you know, you got those guys that are what we call neighborhood superstars, and that, you know, they might be neighborhood superstars because they're of a particular profession that earns them a good living that may not necessarily be, you know, legal, right? So I think some people call them dope boys or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So everybody knows at least one dope boy from the hood, right, from around the way. So what I learned from the dope boys was they had nice collections of cars, but a lot of times when you saw them, they were riding around in like a low-key bucket, like a little, you know, like something that's like unassuming, you know, not flashy. And I never could understand why they would do that, you know. And so over the years, I kind of realized when you have a car that you put that much money and time into, you really shouldn't drive it every day. You know what I mean? And because what happens is the more you drive it, the more you make yourself a target. And I'm not saying don't drive your car every day. Please don't mistake what I'm saying. Drive your car as much as you want, right? But just understand that the more you drive the car, if it's a flashy car and it sticks out, the more you drive it, the more attention you bring to it, which is gonna sometimes bring negative attention, right? And so I personally try not to drive those cars as often as I can because I don't want anybody following me home. I don't want anybody trying to figure out my route, the patterns I go through every day. So I try to drive like a low key car. Like I told you before, man, my low key car is a 91 Honda Accord. You would never know that that's my car because it's like so not flashy at all. It's like just a totally, laid back, quiet, down to earth car, right? And I drive that so that I don't have to worry about parking it. I can park it anywhere I want to. I don't care if the doors get dinged. I don't care if anybody steals it. I don't care if anybody breaks into it. It's, you know what I mean? Because it's cheap and it didn't cost me much, right? But as far as back to your question about the alarm systems, you definitely want to get an alarm system that has some type of smart capabilities. And by smart capabilities, I'm talking about like a two-way pager where you can be paged on your key fob if the car is tampered with. Definitely want a GPS. I would recommend putting multiple GPSs in your car. I would recommend getting a GPS that's wired to your electrical system, and I would recommend getting a GPS that's not wired, that runs off of like a lithium battery that lasts a long time. Because a lot of times what cats will do is if you have a GPS in a car, they'll find where it is and they'll take it out, right? But if you have more than one, or they'll clip the power to the battery, which will then of course clip the power to the GPS. But some of the GPSs have backup power where if the power is clipped, they still stay on. But you definitely want. I don't know about necessarily an alarm that has a GPS. I would, because what happens is if you have an alarm with a GPS, if they can find the brain of the alarm and they disable the brain, then there goes your GPS. So what you want to do is you want to do a separate GPS from your alarm so that even if they do find the alarm and disable the alarm, the GPS is still active and still transmitting its location. So and there's companies out there that you can get a GPS kit and monitoring for less than $20 a month, and you can protect your assets, man. And I guess above all else, if all else fails, if the alarm doesn't help and the GPS doesn't help, just get you some good insurance, man. If you got a classic vehicle, let's say that's 20 years or older, invest in you some classic car insurance or antique car insurance. It's so cheap. It's cheap. And antique car insurance will cost you, depending on what city you live in, it'll cost you less than say $1,000 a year for antique car insurance. And they can cover the total value of your car up to the limit that you give them.
Man, when I tell you, as my guy Shane in the comments just commented, you dropped some straight, real knowledge in here. And that's why I asked that question, because those are the questions that I'm having as I'm looking at putting money into a bill. How can I protect my investment? I wasn't even aware of the classic car insurance, man. That's dope. And I wasn't even aware or had the idea of multiple GPSs, one hardwired, another not hardwired. Wasn't even aware of that, period, man. Now, what I am aware of is driving something that gets attention, like my BMW i8. You know, that's not something that I'm familiar with that, and you know, I'm from the hood, so trust me, trust me, I already know. Hey, I see everything. You could be a mile away. I already see you. I know you heading over here. I saw you, bro. I could be talking to somebody. I see cuz over here. I see cuz right there. So for me to get caught slipping, as they say, man, you know, that's really not something that I'm worried about. My thought pattern was, like I just said, man, if I went to the movie theaters, but I guess the best way is to not drive the candy paint to the movie theater.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Hey, here's my thing. I got a rule of thumb. If I can't look out a window and see my car, I'm not going there. I'm not gonna drive it there. You know what I mean? If I can't look out a window and see my car, I'm not driving it there, and I'm definitely not gonna park it there. And so, so here's another thing too, right? Okay, and this is a little bit of me just getting older and mature and wiser, right? So, you know, when you're not used to having things, you want to let everybody know you got it, right? You know what I'm saying? And you know, me growing up, I didn't have a whole lot growing up. You know, me and my mom, you know, we did our thing. We made it happen, right? But so when I was able to get things, whether it was like a shiny new car, a set of wheels or whatever, man, I wanted everybody to know. So like a day didn't go by where I didn't put those wheels on the road and I wasn't driving that car, right? Because I wanted everybody to know. Well, see, as I got older, I realized like, okay, it's cool to show those things off and let everybody see them, but you know, once you've had it and you've experienced it, it's okay to like park the car and let it sit for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be in it every day. You don't have to always take it everywhere you go. And so when like the example you mentioned was going to the movie theater, right? There was a time where I would have loved pulling up at the movie theater, parking my car, hopping out, hitting the alarm, chirp, chirp, and looking back at it and going inside and having everybody looking at me, right? But the reality of it is, you parking your car outside of the movie theater, man, you're gonna be in there for at least 2 to 3 hours, right? And it's more than likely gonna be at nighttime, okay? Which is when most car thieves strike, is under the cloak of darkness, right? You setting yourself up for failure, man. You setting yourself up for failure. Either they gonna crank it and steal it, or they gonna put it on a tow truck and pull it. So why put yourself in that predicament, man? I just I've taken too many L's. I'm holding my L. I've taken too many L's in my history to understand that, man. I've had cars stolen. I've had rims stolen off of cars. I've had cars broken into and ransacked and stuff taken out of them. So take it from somebody who's learned from experience. Don't park your car if you can't see it outside the window.
And on that note, that's why I love the Waffle House. It's all glass. You can sit anywhere in the Waffle House and see outside in the parking lot and see your car and see my car. It's probably why that's my favorite restaurant throughout America, man, is the Waffle House, man. But what I want you to do, man, one more time for the people that may have just come in, man, tell them where they can find you on Instagram and where they can find you on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. So on Instagram, of course, you can find me at Red and Black Collection. It's spelled just like it sounds, Red and Black Collection on Instagram. My YouTube channel is the same as well. You can just search for Red and Black Collection. It should come up. You'll see a red car with a black stripe on the hood when you look at the thumbnail. And then, of course, like I mentioned earlier, I'm on TikTok as well. Same handle, Red and Black Collection. And I also have a Facebook page, Red and Black Collection also.
Man, that's what it is, man. I already know this right here for fact, man. If I don't stop now, we will be talking for another hour, another 2 hours. Because I'm in a master's class, man. Like, all jokes aside, man, you really have taught me a whole lot. And I'm a student trying to learn everything I can about, putting these G-bodies together, man. You've really taken my knowledge to another level. So I'm already going to go back and watch this video, man, and actually get my notes down. But
hey, one thing I forgot. Okay, so another tip that I learned growing up in Dallas, on your car alarm. Okay, you know how your car alarm has that little dainty horn, that the siren. Scrap that horn and get you a three-way 3-tone siren. It's okay. So these sirens, you can buy them on eBay, you can buy them on Amazon, and they have 3 wires. They have a red wire, a yellow wire, and a black wire. Okay. This alarm, when your alarm sounds, that siren is so annoying. I don't care who it is. They will look out the window and look at your car to see what's going on. Because think about it. How many times have you heard a car alarm go off and you just thought to yourself like, okay, there's another car alarm, but you don't get up and go look out the window, right?
No.
Okay. So look. So with that 3-wire siren, I guarantee your neighbors will get up and look outside their door, because it's so loud and obnoxious that you'll think that there's a police car or an ambulance coming down the street. I'm serious.
3-way, 3-siren alarm.
Yeah, three-way, 3-tone siren alarm. What they use them for? They use them for alarms on big buildings. So like if like an alarm is sounded at a big building, they mount them on the outside of the buildings, and they're real loud. That's what they're used for. But you put it under the hood of a car, man, it will grab somebody's attention.
Okay, well, I already know what I'm gonna have when I get the 84 Monte Carlo here in town, man. I'm gonna have to get that 3-way alarm. So I'm definitely gonna have to make sure I get all of the specifications again from you, man. This has been a phenomenal interview, bro. When I tell you, man, I got so many more questions for you, man. But we would be here another hour, and I would hate for Instagram to just cut us off
Right.
flat. So I just want to say on behalf of Cartalk TV, myself, E Vapors, my main man, Carlo Rail, we really, really appreciate you, man. And I thank you for being a good sport too, man. When I'm messing with you, man, talking about demonology and all these other racing. You know, I'm Don King, baby. I'm the ultimate promoter. So I really appreciate that, man. And it shows how much character that you have, man. You're a really, really classy guy, man. I really think more people need to know about you, man. So we need y'all to get to his YouTube channel, and we need to grow the Red and Black collection on YouTube, man. We got to get you out there to the masses, man. You're the type of YouTuber that the world needs to know about, man. A great guy, great family guy, and just a fun person to talk to, and very knowledgeable, man, in your craft, man. So thank you on behalf of Cartalk TV, man.
I appreciate it, E, man. It was a pleasure, man. I enjoyed it.
No doubt, man. We'll see y'all next time, man.